this movie was glorious. Okay? Like, I expected stupid. I did not expect it to go this far off, that far off the rails. Okay? I loved it. I loved it. Okay? Because, okay, in my video for The Force Awakens, I explained that J.J. Abrams doesn't know and doesn't care how things in Star Wars works. Okay? He doesn't know and doesn't care how lightsabers work. He doesn't know and doesn't care how the Empire works. He doesn't know and doesn't care how droids work. He doesn't know and doesn't care how stormtroopers work. He thinks that they're just... He thought that they were just ideas of Star Wars, and that he could do whatever the hell he wants with it, and nobody... He does not know and doesn't understand how the Force works. Okay? He thinks that it's just some type of magical power that Jedi have. He doesn't know and doesn't care how the Jedi work. He just thinks that all these... He just thinks that all these Star Wars elements are just, things people know about Star Wars. So when he puts them on screen, people are going to go, oh yeah, I know who stormtroopers are. Oh yeah, they're using the Force. I know that. I've seen Star Wars movies. These aren't Star Wars movies anymore. Okay? Well, they never were. These are based on Star Wars movies. Okay? That's what the sequels are. The sequels aren't the Disney Star Wars movies. The sequels are the Disney based on Star Wars movies. God, if I had a bigger channel, I wonder if that would actually, get popular, but oh well. Because, another aspect was the buzzwords on how Star Wars fans are toxic. No, darling, Star Wars fans aren't toxic. We're psychotic. There's a difference, okay? We are the same fan base that was ready and willing to burn George Lucas in effigy over the prequels. And we love that man, okay? What hope in hell did J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson have? We don't even like them. Excuse me. I mean, these guys ended up realizing that they were in over the head. That they had no clue what they had walked into. Okay? And there was all the defense and everything. Because they didn't expect... They didn't know we were going to be this crazy. Oh, sorry. Well, not really, but... No. Welcome to the Star Wars fan base. Welcome to the true dark side of the Force. The Star Wars fan base. We may not have cookies, but we do have, 3rd to 12th generation copies of the Star Wars Christmas special on VHS. Don't worry about it, inside joke. But, to get to the movies, J.J. Abrams realized he can't and doesn't know how and doesn't know what it takes to make a Star Wars movie, so he pretty much gave up. He just threw, The Rise of Skywalker together and just threw Star Wars elements at it and just went, it's all I got. And that's what we got, and that's pretty much what we got. Like to actually get to the movie, right? We might as well start talking about this glorious movie. Just by taking how The Last Jedi ended compared to, and with how, The Last Skywalker, The Rise of Skywalker started, what happened? As far as I remember, The Last Jedi ended with the entire crew, or whatever was left of the rebellion, flying off in the Millennium Falcon, and Poe introducing himself to Rey for the first time. Kylo Ren was just standing on the Salt Planet, just watching them leave. But then we get The Rise of Skywalker, and all of a sudden, Kylo Ren is just flying through space in his X-Wing, not even caring about the rebellion anymore, not even caring about Rey, ends up fighting some people on this planet, and gets this Wave Rider. And it's did I miss a movie? Did I miss, a novelization that occurred between the two movies? Was there a comic book miniseries to help bridge the gap? It's like J.J. Abrams went, like, this isn't even a trilogy anymore. This is just 3 Star Wars movies with the same characters. Like, not only that, you got Poe and Finn and Chewbacca suddenly in the Millennium Falcon flying to contact their mole to let them know that there's a spy. Like, how did this new bait... Like, the Rebellion had nothing. At the end of The Last Jedi, the Rebellion had nothing. All of a sudden, in The Rise of Skywalker, they got a base on some unknown planet. Like, I'm watching this, I'm going, okay, strap in, because anything can happen. And basically, everything does. Like, we then have Kylo Ren attaching the Wave Rider to his ship, and all I'm thinking is this like some GPS, or is this like a fob from the Mandalorian TV show, right? And then we arrive on some planet, and there's Palpatine, and I'm going, of course there's Palpatine. Why the hell not? And the strategy of this, I don't know if this was a strategy or not, but this is my interpretation, was that J.J. Abrams just threw so much stupid and in-your-face, I don't care, that, like, nice and early, so that anything can happen, and you're going, sure, why not? Like literally within an hour into this movie, you could have had Baby Yoda show up, you could have had Jar Jar Binks show up, and I would have gone, sure. I mean, nothing else made any sense and has no logic and cohesion or understanding on anything. So even if Baby Yoda showed up, I'd be going, sure. I don't see how that's any more stupid or ridiculous than Emperor Palpatine showing up, or Princess Leia suddenly being a Jedi Master. And teaching Rey how to be a Jedi because Rian Johnson killed the only other person who could have taught Rey in the first place. So anyway, he arrives on the planet, and the Emperor and Palpatine has, hundreds of Star Destroyers. Sure, why not? Where'd they come from? Who cares? Don't worry about it. Right? So then we have Poe, Finn, and Chewie in the Millennium Falcon. They go meet someone, and then all of a sudden, TIE Fighters just show up. Well, why not? I mean, we don't know where we don't know where they are. We don't know how we got there. We don't know if they've been followed. So TIE Fighters just show up. Then they light speed jump. It's like, that's not a thing, moron. There's no such thing as light speed jumping. That's not how... Like I said, he was just throwing so much bullshit so early and so fast that no matter what happened, you can't go, well, that doesn't make sense, because he starts off in the first half an hour throwing everything else out the window. So, oh yeah, it's like what's light speed jumping? And it's like, who knows? JJ probably just thought it up because he had nothing else to do. Getting back to Emperor Palpatine, he has hundreds, I don't know how many, of Star Destroyers. And it's like, of course he does! Why the hell not? But why? Why would he, first of all, why would he have hundreds of Star Destroyers that each, we end up finding out, each have the power of a Death Star in a cannon? Like, I'll get to that when that gets revealed later on in the movie, at the end of the movie, but it's like, what was he holding them in storage? Like, why would, if he's the one pulling the strings, why did he have the First Order create the Star Killer base in the first place? It makes no sense if you even... And then, it's like, apparently, according to the movie, okay, he had all these people, who knows who, building the Star Destroyers, but doesn't have the crew to man them. Because when Kylo Ren ends up talking about the Star Destroyers, some of them go, we're going to have to up recruitment. And I'm going, so what? There are all these hundreds of Star Destroyers just kind of sitting there waiting. And so Emperor Palpatine built the Star Destroyers but didn't hire crews for them. He has to have the First Order. Oh, there's just... So anyway, we end up finding out that Rey has Luke's books. And I'm going, what books? When did this happen? Like, what? Why did Luke even have these books in the first place? Oh, so that they can have some kind of plot for this movie. Why not? And Rey comes to the conclusion that she has to find the Wave Rider, which is the overall quest, because the fact that the Wave Rider is the central quest of this movie establishes that this movie is ridiculous. How can you have a trilogy and have to invent a quest specifically to make this movie happen in the first place? Like, after The Last Jedi, there was no story to continue that arc. Because J.J. Abrams had to invent the Wave Rider to be able to have, for this movie, to actually have a plot in the first place. This plot wasn't a continuation of what Rian Johnson had in The Last Jedi. This is its whole new plot specifically made. Anyway, so she decides that she now has to find the Emperor, and I'm going, and what are you gonna do? And do what? Once you, because again, she doesn't want to kill him yet. That doesn't happen until later. The whole quest for this movie is for her to want to find the Emperor. And it's like, well, what are you going to do when you meet him? She doesn't know she's a Palpatine yet. She doesn't know anything. So it's like, what are you going to do when you meet him? Who cares? Because the story doesn't... Oh, my God. Oh, and then with the books, it's like, well, why was Luke trying to find Exegol in the first place? Did he know that Emperor Palpatine was alive? Because if he didn't know Emperor Palpatine was alive, why would Luke want to find Exegol, which is the home of the Sith, if Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine were the last Sith in the first place? So the only reason Luke Skywalker would have been looking for Exegol is if he already knew Emperor Palpatine was alive. Well, wouldn't that have been valuable information to tell people in The Last Jedi? It's like, oh my God, JJ, you can't even bullshit properly without being... Oh my God. So, anyway, so they're Rey and our hero. I love how they're suddenly friends now, right? Like, I understand Rey and Finn being close, but now all of a sudden we have to have our group of heroes, which is Finn, Poe, Rey, and Chewbacca, because since the original trilogy had, you know, the group of friends who are the heroes, this movie has to have a group of friends who are the heroes, even though you don't even bother establishing or even caring about establishing how they became friends in the first place. And then it kind of bothered me, why didn't R2-D2 go, but they brought C-3PO? Like, why was C-3PO going? We end up finding out later on why, because God knows the plot required it. But at the time, it was like, why are they bringing C-3PO? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, and then how did they fix Luke's lightsaber? Don't worry about it. Then we have Kylo Ren, who gets his helmet back. Now, it's like J.J. Abrams was going, screw you, Ryan. He's having the helmet, and I'm getting it back. But then it was like, well, wait a minute. Why not just build him a new helmet? Why fix the old one? Because in The Last Jedi, he pretty much destroyed it. But then it's like, now again, this is a little nitpick, but I'm sorry, I have to ask this question. Did Rey meet Emperor Palpatine, then go all the way back to his base ship, get his helmet, then go all the way back to Exegol and go, here, repair this? Because how else would they have repaired his helmet? It's not like he brought his broken helmet with him on the trip over. There would have been no reason to. He had no idea who he was going to confront. So once he realized it was the Palpatine and he was going to join them, and he goes, hey, I have an idea. Can we fix my helmet? Sure. So he goes all the way back to the Star Destroyer that's his home base, goes all the way back to Exegol and goes, here, fix it. And it's got all these red little lines on it, and it's like, hey, JJ, why don't you just go full pimpin' and just have, like hot rod flames all over it? It would have looked just as stupid. So Kylo Ren is having a board meeting, and he's reenacting the I find your lack of faith scene from the original trilogy, and has to one-up it. So instead of just force choking the guy, he's got to force choke him and slam him. And I was like, whatever. And, and he does it because the guy actually asks the most obvious question, like, what does the Emperor want? What does he want in this? Like, we don't know what he wants yet until after, which has nothing to do with the First Order in the first place. Because according to the movie, all Emperor Palpatine wants is for Rey to kill him so that the powers of the Sith can be brought into Rey and then she could rule. He has absolutely no use for the First Empire. It's not even part of his plan. So when that officer goes, what does the Emperor want? This is basically J.J. Abrams going, shut your whore mouth, don't ask these stupid ass questions, and just slams him into the ground. So that way, nobody else goes, anybody else got any stupid ass questions? Questioning a goddamn useless motivation in this movie? No? Good. Let's keep going. So then our heroes are on the planet that was the last known directions by Luke's book on where the Wave Rider was. And they're on the planet with the little festival, and that alien native puts the necklace on Rey, right? And then we have, the communication between Rey and Kylo Ren. Okay? Now, this is what I mean by J.J. Abrams having no goddamn clue how the Force works, or even caring anymore. Okay? Because, let's go along the lines of this use of the Force always existed. It just never was shown in the movies, in the previous movies. Fine. I'll even give this movie that. Except here's the problem. It doesn't work. Because it doesn't make any sense. It's so goddamn selective. How was Kylo Ren able to contact Rey's mind? Like, how does that work? How is he able to contact her but not know where she is? Because he doesn't know where she is. So he's able to push out with the Force for God knows how many millions of light years and is able to probe her mind to be able to talk to her and then at the same time have this pseudo combination of I can see you, but you're in my area, and you can see me, but you're and not only that. So if it's communication, which I'll even accept, how is he able to physically take the necklace? Like even if I try to accept this pseudo force capabilities, the actual use of it renders the use of it impossible. So how can I even take this use of the force seriously when it's just anything? Like, he's literally making it that the force can do whatever he needs it to do to keep, like, the force is now the force in Star Wars is now a constant deus ex machina. Whatever they need to get the story going, no matter how stupid, no matter how ridiculous, just use the force. That's all they have to do. So they have the communication. And I love the fact that he was able to, he grabbed the necklace, and it's like, gee, it's a good thing that alien native gave Rey the necklace before the conversation. Otherwise, how would Kylo Ren ever be able to know where Rey was? It's just Bush League. Absolute Bush League. I mean, this is like, what's the term? This is like amateur fan fiction storytelling here. But anyway. So now, here's what got me. So she has the conversation, and she goes, okay, we gotta go now. And it's like, wait a minute. What do you mean you gotta go? You came for the Wave Rider. At the very least, go, we have to hurry and get the Wave Rider. No, we're done. The Wave Rider is apparently not important anymore. We gotta leave because Kylo Ren is showing up. And then it was like JJ's going, oh crap, no, wait a minute. They need to stay. But how do I get them to stay? Oh, I know. We'll have Lando Calrissian show up. Why the hell not? You've already got Emperor Palpatine. What else? And then Rey and Finn actually recognize General Lando Calrissian. They barely even believed that Luke Skywalker existed, but somehow knew. No offense to Lando Calrissian, but how did Lando Calrissian become a bigger name in the original Rebellion takeover of the Emperor than Luke Skywalker? So now Lando knows where the Wave Rider is, and knows that there are only 2 left. How does he know there's only 2 left? I seriously, how does he know there's only 2 left, except, no, there isn't 2 left, we end up finding out later. Oh, I should probably add that I am skipping a whole lot of stupid, because there's just way too goddamn much. So I'm just going to cover like the big stupid, because I don't just... So, Lando tells our heroes that the ship is past Lurch's Canyon or something. And then they leave. And it's like, you don't even know where you're going. It's not like you have a fob or a map. It's like, where are you going? You don't know where Lurch's Canyon is. But now screw it. I mean, after all, not knowing where you're going works, you know, in the Mandalorian TV show. Why not? Why wouldn't it work in this movie? And then we see that the stormtroopers have motorcycles because I don't know what, like speeder bikes or Star Wars Trilogy. Keep up, boys and girls. And then pull hot wires a speeder. But then how do they get 2 land speeders? Like, because he hot wires the 1 land speeder. You see the crowd and they go, okay, we gotta leave. He didn't have time to hotwire the other land speeder. But if and also if the stormtroopers have jetpacks, why do the motorcycle bikes have launch pads? Like, it's not necessary. And then they can't. So then they have the little shootout, And they can't hit the stormtroopers or take them out, but they can take them out with a barrel and a rope. And it's like, what was the purpose of that scene? To show how inept and useless they were, and that they needed blind luck to be able to. And again, not knowing where they're going, and they're just trying to evade the stormtroopers. They come across the ship that's still there, but 10 odd years later, I don't even know what the time frame is anymore. And then one of the stormtroopers shoots a grenade that destroys both land speeders. Well, why didn't you use that in the beginning of the fight? Oh, well then you wouldn't have had the chase scene. And J.J. Abrams needed to figure out some way to end the chase scene. So we had one of the stormtroopers decide to, hey, I got a grenade launcher. How about I use that to end the chase scene? And then the explosion is able to destroy both land speeders, but none of our heroes are injured. Like, what this move? One of the defenses of the prequels is it's made for children. That's what the sequels are. The sequels are literally made for like 6-year-olds because they're the only ones who could watch that and go, yeah, okay, no problem. Then they hit the stormtrooper, and he flies around and sounds like a balloon losing air, and he's flailing about. And then when he hits the mountain, he explodes in a giant fireball. How? Like, what's his name? Did like Michael Bay do an assist in this film and just do that little scene? Because there's no goddamn reason for that stormtrooper to explode in that giant fireball. And then they start sinking into that sand. And I'm going, gee, if only they had someone who had, unregulated force powers that could save them. If only. Now, apparently, J.J. Abrams needed them to sink. And then they start sinking. And then Ray yells, grab something. And it's like, what the hell are you supposed to grab? More sand? And then they fall through into some tunnels. And it's like they break. It looked like they actually broke through like a layer of rock to go into the tunnel. Well, it's like, well, why didn't the sand fall too? No, don't think about it. Shut up. Shut up, or I will force choke you and slam you into the cave roof. I love this movie. And then they come across a speeder in the tunnels. How did the speeder get there? Again, shut the hell up. Don't question JJ, because he has no idea what he's doing. And then they find, the knife. Then they find the knife that has the location of the Wave Rider. And it was like, that had to be one of the most beautiful aspects and glorious aspects of this entire movie. And then we understand why they brought C-3PO. Because he's able to translate Sith, but apparently his programming doesn't allow it because J.J. Abrams had no idea how to keep this flimsy-ass plot going. So he had to come up with another flimsy-ass plot because it basically, the original one lost steam. So it's like, they need to get C-3PO to be able to translate Sith. I don't even understand how it works. Like, he's able, okay, follow me on this, okay? He translated it, but he can't translate Sith. He can't translate what it says, but he can explain what it said. He can explain that it's the directions of the Wave Rider. Well then, if he can't translate and he knows where it is, couldn't you just give them a map and go, okay, don't translate, just point on the map where it is? Like, what? Couldn't they do that? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it. God knows I'm putting more thought into this than J.J. Abrams did. And then suddenly a snake lifts his head, and it's like, what? Did you guys miss it? Because here's another aspect of J.J. Abrams, and like a lot of and with the Mandalorian. As long as it's off screen and the audience can't see it, then the characters in the actual scene also can't see it. So there's this giant snake, and Rey walks up to it, and now here's what got me. If Rey was using force powers to calm the snake, I would have gone, okay, that would have worked. It would have been so goddamn simple. The movies have already established that Rey knows how to control the minds of others. So you're already, like JJ, you're already screwing up how the Force works. You could have easily have just had her go, using the Force to calm the snake down. No, she just walks up to it, and the snake doesn't want to attack. Like, come on! Like, what? Of all the times to actually use the Force, this would have been a situation where using the Force actually would have made sense and been logical. Screw using that. Screw using logic screw using the Force when it was actually relevant to the story and to the movie. That's why I loved it. Because then she's now a Force healer. She can now heal. Who taught her this? It's like, the only thing Leia could have taught Rey is how to fly through space. It's not like she would have been able to teach Rey how to Force heal, but she knows how to Force heal and suffers no debilitation from it at all. Like, I sacrificed some of my life force or force. It's like, no, you didn't. You didn't even break a sweat. You weren't even taught. So she now heals the snake. But they still haven't figured out any way of getting out of the cave. So the snake moves, and a hole in the cave shows up, and it leads to outside. Well, of course it does. Because they needed to leave, and it's not like J.J. Abrams had any goddamn idea on how to get him out. So the snake just moved. And then the Knights of Ren show up. Now, I don't know much about the Knights of Ren, so I really can't say much. But all they do is show up, they pose, and then the scene's over. And it was like can we at least know who the Knights of Ren are? Based on, I know they have, I understand that they're in the books and in the comics and stuff, but I haven't read them, and neither has the majority of the people watching these movies. So you see this group of people who are like, I don't know, mercenaries or whatever, and it's like, who are they? Well, we're not telling you. And then they get on the ship, and of course it works. Why wouldn't it? I'm thinking, thank God there's no Jawas on this planet, because if after what they did to the Mandalorian ship, God knows what they would have done to this ship after 10 years or however long it was on this planet. And then Rey decides, I have to leave. And it's like, why? What do you mean you have to leave? I go, why? Because it says so on page 89 of the script? Because there's no it's not like she even has a feeling. Or she goes, like, if she had said, hold on, I sense something, I need to go check it out. No! Again, another example of when using the Force powers that J.J. Abrams made up in the first place would have actually have been a viable reason for her to leave, because she goes, I sense something, I don't know what it is, but it's danger, I must go check it out. No, I just gotta leave. And then Chewie goes to get Rey, and the Knights of Ren are there. and but they only capture Chewie. But why don't they go after Finn and Poe and the ship they're in? Well, they can't do that because then that would change the movie, and J.J. Abrams has no idea what he's doing. And Rey is like, I'm going to go walk into the desert now. So the stormtroopers are there, and they find Chewie, and instead of looking for the others, they grab Chewie, and it's not like they leave. Because here's the thing. There's two transports. One transport has Chewie, which doesn't blow up. Now I'll get to the whole exploding ship later, but the other transport that doesn't have Chewie leaves. Well, why is the transport that doesn't have Chewie leaving? This is the movie going. This is the movie pulling, I guess, like a bait and switch, because there's no even if there's two ships, the only reason for one of the ships to leave in the first place is because they have Chewie and they're bringing them to, well, not even Kylo Ren, because Kylo Ren's on the planet. I guess General Pride or whatever. There's no reason for the transport that doesn't have Chewie to leave. Why aren't they, I don't know, going after Poe and Finn and stopping them from escaping in the ship? That would make sense. Then Kylo Ren shows up and they play chicken. And it's like, why? Like, what is the purpose of this scene? Because Kylo Ren is basically skimming off the sand and is heading towards Rey. He's not shooting her, so he's not trying to kill her. So what was the point of Kylo Ren flying headlong into Rey? What was his end goal? I'm serious. There was literally no I don't understand what the outcome he was hoping to have. To hit her head on and have her splatter against the windshield? Because that's the only inevitable conclusion that he would have come up with. But she ends up So Rey slices the X-Wing, the cockpit rolls and explodes, and of course, Kylo Ren is safe. Oh, and then here's the other thing. You see the cockpit area roll and explode, right? But then when you see Kylo Ren again, you see the cockpit just on fire. And it's like, bullshit! You had that sucker explode 10 seconds ago. Nah, screw it. We edited that scene out. There's literally no continuity between one scene from the next, or from one scene to the next, because then before you can even register the fact that his ship was supposed to have exploded and now isn't exploded, Rey is using the Force to hold the transport ship, and it's like, of course she is. What? I mean, Jesus H. Christ. Like, how is she able to do this? Like, because here's the thing. If she's able to use the Force and hold back the transport ship, then why doesn't she could have used that ability so many times, and that would have been so helpful. Like, because she never uses that level of Force power ever again in the movie. Okay? That's the joke of this scene. The joke of this scene isn't that she's suddenly so goddamn overpowered. It's the fact that because nowhere else in the story requires her to use that level of Force power, she never ends up using it again. This is not this is what I mean by it being a Deus Ex Machina. J.J. Abrams doesn't know and doesn't care how the Force works. It's literally... The Force powers are... The fact that she's able to hold back the transport is ridiculous in and of itself. The fact that she never uses that level of Force power again just shows how full of bullshit that scene was in the first... Then, before you can even get over the fact that she's holding up the transport, Kylo Ren starts challenging her with the transport ship. And it's like, why? Like, just sit there. Wait till she either brings it down or does it. Because aren't you there to, like, convince her to join you? Like did J.J. Abrams forget or not remember what Kylo Ren's motivation is and actual story and purpose is? How am I as an audience supposed to even care or follow Kylo Ren's journey if J.J. Abrams keeps changing it every other scene anyway? Like I'm serious. Why was Kylo Ren fighting her? Again, the fact that he had that level of Force power is stupid in and of itself. But then it's like, but why was he using it? Just sit there. Either let her tire herself out, or I don't know, use your Force powers on her to knock her out. It's just, like, this is just random bullshit at this point. Well, it's been like that since the beginning, but this is another example. And then Rey suddenly blows up the transport ship. And she freaks out, and I'm going, okay, but, like, how? Like, how did she switch from the telekinetic ability to suddenly lightning bolt? Now, the one aspect about it was, like, that kind of gives a hint that she's Palpatine's granddaughter, because we're associating the use of the lightning powers with Palpatine, but she's not angry. Like, if she was using the Force powers of telekinesis, the telekinetic ability of the Force powers, against Kylo Ren and starts losing and starts getting angry, and then the lightning comes out as a little bit of a instinctive reaction, then that would have worked. But why would she suddenly click into a default lightning power while trying to save him? Except to have it so that there was some kind of bullshit tension that, oh my god, she killed Chewie. And story-wise, it doesn't even make sense. Character-wise, it doesn't even make sense. Plot-wise, it doesn't even make sense. It's just nothing more than a cool scene to distract you from all the bullshit in this movie. And then Kylo Ren just watches her leave again. And it's like, what the hell is going on? Why does Kylo Ren constantly let her leave? And then now, they're just in the middle of space. And it's like, what? How did you... The next scene is just the Millennium Falcon in the middle of space. But we just saw, the X-Wings chasing them. Like, what? You didn't have time? You didn't have the budget to have... Now, before you can register... Hey, wait a minute. Was it... Shouldn't they have been chased by the X-Wings? How did they suddenly get into space? Did they skip a scene? You end up seeing the First Order towing the Millennium Falcon to the Star Destroyer. And it's like, why? Why would they... What purpose or value does the Millennium Falcon have to General Pride or Kylo Ren? None! But JJ needed to figure out a way to keep the Millennium Falcon in the movie. So he goes, screw it! We're just gonna have the First Order bring it to the Star Destroyer. And now they need to get the information from C-3PO. And Poe knows the guy. Now, I can't fully hate on this and call this out because it actually helps establish a little bit of backstory for Poe. I mean, we got a little bit of backstory for Rey, as convoluted and as retconned as it gets. We get a little bit of backstory with Finn. This is at least some backstory with Poe and helps give that he was once a spice runner type. I liked it. Okay, so I can't fully hate on it, but at the same time, he just happens to know someone who can, do what they need to do to C-3PO so that he can translate the Sith. So they go to Kabibi, and they're running around, and it's like, I understand why our heroes are in cloaks and stuff, but why is C-3PO in a cloak? Like, he's a droid. It's common. He's a protocol droid. What would putting a cloak on a droid, what purpose would that serve? That would more call out the droid than if he was... Then we meet, I think her name is Azori. Now, here's the weird thing. Azori is basically, well, not basically, but in a sense, the sequel's, the original trilogy's version of Boba Fett. She's got like 5 minutes of screen time. It's incredibly interesting, and it's like, I literally would have preferred Azori be part and actually join because she's the only one that's interesting. Well, other than Paul, because I don't really like Finn and I don't really like Rey. But the whole thing about Azori is the only reason Azori is in this film is because she has the First Order Captain's Medallion. Well, of course she does. Of course she has it, because how else are our heroes going to be able to get into the Star Destroyer when Rey finds out that Chewie is actually alive and they need to be able to rescue him? So J.J. Abrams invented the medallion in the first place so that Azori could give it to Poe so that they could end up going into the Star Destroyer to be able to rescue Chewie. Like, this is so obvious and hack. Like, I think JJ gave up. I'm sorry. Like, this movie is JJ going, I don't even care anymore. I'm just making this up as it goes, as I go along, and just get me to the end of this goddamn film. So they now are trying to rescue Chewbacca, and halfway through, Rey goes, the dagger's here. I have to go get it. And it's like, why in the name of... Because here's the thing. It ends up getting revealed later on, and I'll probably bitch about it when that happens too. But we're watching... As we're watching the scene, we're going, why would you possibly need the dagger? And because the reason they need the dagger is so goddamn pathetic, J.J. Abrams can't establish why they need the dagger, because then you'll find out how stupid it is too early in the film. So it's like, oh, I can feel it. That's why we need to get it. So then Finn, Poe, and Chewie are fighting stormtroopers. And they're fighting their way back to their ship. And it's like, hey, morons! The ship knows you're here. You're fighting stormtroopers. Your plan is to fight the stormtroopers all the way back to the hangar bay to get on your ship as if that plan is good. Like that doesn't even make any sense. If their plan was, we need to find Rey, we need to find some way of getting it out. No, no, no. Our plan is to fight all these stormtroopers, get to the hangar bay, get on our ship, and escape. So then Kylo Ren. So then Ren and Kylo Ren have the battle. And again, it's simply and now a more advanced version of the pseudo-force conversation powers. Now they're actually hitting each other? Like, can they actually kill each other this way? But again, here's how selective this ability is. It isn't until they hit the pedestal, or like the pedestal with Darth Vader's mask is on, and that drops, and he's able to see the mask. Well, why wasn't he able to see the rubble of the pedestal that it was on? Like, do you understand how bullshit this is? How bullshit this pseudo-force power that they have is. It's whatever it needs to be, because apparently the main purpose of this communication thing is just so that Kylo Ren knows where Rey is whenever J.J. Abrams needs the plot to advance by having Kylo Ren know where Rey is. That's the actual purpose of this of this communication aspect. It's not to show tension and to have fight and to communicate and to advance story and to talk about Rey's parentage. It's so that Kylo Ren can now know where Rey is so that the story can keep moving forward. And then they're about to kill Poe, Finn, and Chewie. And Hux is the spy. And it's like, sure! Well, why not? What, you could have had anybody be the spy. At this point, who gives a shit anymore? Like, there's no... Like, is that some kind of a reveal that we're supposed to go, oh my good... The reason is so goddamn stupid, it's irrelevant, but anybody could have been the spy. Okay? Again, Jar Jar Binks could have shown up, shot the stormtroopers, they could have turned around and go, who are you? And he would have gone, I'm a Jar Jar Binks. I'm the spy that's been on this ship since, the first movie. And do you understand? Anybody could have been the spy, and it wouldn't have phased, and it wouldn't have made a difference. Because there's no logic and sense of reality in this movie. Oh, so not to gloss over it, but we end up finding out that Rey is a Palpatine. That she's Emperor Palpatine's granddaughter. Sure, why not? You literally could have made Rey you could have made Rey the illegitimate bastard child of Uncle Owen and his mistress, and thus making Rey a Skywalker. And it's just as stupid, and it's just as feasible. The fact that he pulled the fact that she's a Palpatine out of his ass, you could have made her Uncle Owen's illegitimate bastard child. Who cares? The only aspect of her being a Palpatine that I actually liked was, I think, I kind of view it as JJ throwing shade to Rian Johnson, where Rian Johnson goes, oh yeah, Rey's parents are nothing. Your parents are nothing. They were nobodies. And J.J. Abrams already had plans for her, and then goes, oh really, she's nothing? How about screw this? She's Palpatine's granddaughter now, bitch. She wasn't before, but now you want to make her... To me, that's the only funny part and aspect of her being a Palpatine that I actually enjoyed. So anyway, they have to leave, and again, Kylo Ren just lets her leave, and so Hux gets them to the Millennium Falcon. Good thing there was the Millennium Falcon, and they towed it up, huh? Didn't see that coming. So Now again, they have no idea where Rey is, okay? But are able to fly around and able to locate where Rey is. And we have the bay doors. We have the hangar bay doors. Now the hangar bay door is a giant force field. Well, you could have easily have had the force field up so that Rey couldn't escape. But either J.J. Abrams has no goddamn clue that that's actually what exists, or went, well, how else am I going to get Rey to escape unless she's able to bypass or ignore the fact that there's a force field on the hangar bay doors. And then this is so she gets in, they fly off, 3 seconds later, boom, light speed, gone. No other escape scene do they do that, but because the movie needed to go, let's get onto this, we need to get them to escape, boom, they're done, they're free. Like, it just... Then we have Kylo Ren talking to Palpatine and going, they have the dagger, I know where they're going. So I'm thinking, oh, what a cheap, plot device. She needed to get the dagger so that way Kylo Ren, because again, Kylo Ren is always one step behind. JJ has to actually cheat so that Kylo Ren can actually stay in the loop, because Kylo Ren is constantly out of the loop and is always one step behind, and there has to be some kind of breadcrumb so that Kylo Ren can actually keep up and stay relevant in this film. So I'm thinking, oh, the reason she took the dagger is so that way Kylo Ren now knows where they're going to the planet where the directions are on the dagger. Now our heroes are on the planet with the chunk of the Death Star. Now, here's what pisses me off about this, is that either J.J. Abrams didn't even watch the original trilogy to find out what happens to the Death Star, or he doesn't even care. Because the only way there could be a chunk of the Death Star in this planet is if J.J. Abrams goes, I don't give a damn what happened in the original trilogy. I want there to be a chunk of the Death Star in this movie. There's going to be a goddamn chunk of the Death Star in this movie. And if you don't like it, I'm going to force choke you and slam you into the roof of the Death Star, the chunk of the Death Star. This is why I'm saying that the sequels are based on Star Wars, not actual Star Wars movies. So then we have the idea of, the dagger has that little thing coming out, and it's a compass, I guess, or I don't know what, I know what it is, it's some type of sailing navigation thing, but I don't know what it's called. And I'm going, well, that's cheap ass. But then you see that the shape of the dagger is the shape of the remains of the chunk of Death Star. So now I'm going, well, wait a minute. Did whoever make this dagger make it after the Death Star crashed? Because they would have had to have stand where Rey is and hold out and then actually carve out where it is. Because not only that, for her to get that silhouette, she would have had to have been standing in that right spot. If she was like a mile this way or 2 miles that way, it would have never lined up. Now, obviously, the movie doesn't pay attention. The movie didn't care. But I'm going, you had to actually have someone draw the silhouette of the shape of the remains so that they would know how to carve out the shape of the blade of the dagger. But then, why would they do that? What? So, someone knows that the Wave Rider is in the remains of the Death Star and goes, I need to write the directions of where the Wave Rider is on the remains of that Death Star, so I'm gonna put it on this Who is this dagger for? Like, who? Like, we don't even know who made this dagger. And not only that, why did they make this dagger? Like, is he trying to go, like, slightly Indiana Jones on this? Because, or, what's the other one? The one with Nicolas Cage, where he has, the movie with, the Declaration of Independence, and it has the map. I can't remember the name of the movie. But it's kind of like that type of, discover the secrets to how to find the treasure type thing. Like, it makes no sense why this dagger was even made, or who even made the dagger in the first place, and who is this for? Like, why wouldn't the person who made the dagger, who knows that the Wave Rider is in that remains, just get the Wave Rider in the first place? But then how could you have this treasure hunt? So then we have Rey taking a skimmer and being able to sail and navigate the rough waters. Now, this is an example of how I can establish that Rey isn't really a Mary Sue. It's because J.J. Abrams has no goddamn clue what he's doing. He needs Rey to get to the remains and has this really cool idea and really cool scene of her just navigating the waves, and it's a really cool scene. He doesn't care that Rey is a scavenger from a desert planet and has no goddamn clue how to even work a skimmer. He doesn't care. He's not trying to make her all-powerful or this super character. It's just that he has no idea what he's doing. Like, if Rey was a male character, guess what? It still would have been the same thing. You could have had it be Jar Jar Binks. And if he needed Jar Jar Binks to be able to navigate the skimmer through rough waters, he would have had it that Jar Jar Binks could do it. It has nothing to do with Rey being a Mary Sue. It has everything to do with J.J. Abrams just doesn't give a damn anymore. He doesn't care. If he needs Rey to suddenly grow wings and fly, he'll have it that Rey can suddenly grow wings and fly. If that's what it needs, if that's the only thought that he could come up with to get the story to progress, then that's what he'd do. It means nothing. Her being able to just... Anyway, she gets to the ruins. Now here's the problem. She has basically a rough idea where the Wave Rider is. But then when she gets to the room, she has no idea what to do. It's not like the dagger has actually said where in that location the Wave Rider is. So, to help reinforce my previous point, a set of doors just open where the Wave Rider is. J.J. Abrams has no gut. He literally doesn't know how to have Rey find the Wave Rider in the location the dagger establishes. So he goes, I'm just going to have the doors to where the Wave Rider is open, so that way she... This is pathetic. This is ridiculous. Like I said, by this point, the doors could have opened, Baby Yoda could have been behind the doors, and it wouldn't have been any less stupid than everything that's already happening in the movie as it is. Because, just even further the point, she ends up confronting, like, what, the dark side version of herself for about 10 seconds, and then she falls down, and Kylo Ren shows up. And it's like, what? When did the movie doesn't even bother showing Kylo Ren coming in, or how he comes in, or any... No, he's just there. This is just J.J. Abrams going scene. Continuity, any type of logic or continuation, screw it. I don't have... J.J. Abrams ain't got time for that. And then suddenly, Rey and Kylo Ren are outside the remains fighting. How did they get there? We just saw what it took for Rey to actually get to that spot. How the hell did they get from that area to the outside and start having a lightsaber battle? Oh my God! This is what I mean by how this movie was so goddamn glorious. Who gives a shit what's going on? And it's like, why are they having a lightsaber battle? Well, because apparently it's a Star Wars movie and you need a lightsaber battle, so they're having a lightsaber battle. Then Leia dies, and Kylo Ren stops, and then Rey kills. Doesn't even kill. An attack that should have killed him is just a flesh wound, and so Rey ends up healing Kylo Ren, and then she leaves, grabs, takes his X-wing, and then just leaves. And Kylo Ren's like, yeah, see ya. The same thing he's been doing throughout the entire film, just constantly letting her go and letting her escape and leave. Because she has to be able to get to the next area in part of the movie, and the only way she can do it is if J.J. Abrams lets her be able to do it. So Kylo Ren, it's just so pathetic. I'm not going to deal with the Han Solo thing, because again, I'm just skipping a bunch of stupid, because I just want to talk about the stupid that I thought was really hilarious. Now, by this point in the movie, I was just kind of losing steam, because oddly enough, what kept me going throughout most of this film was just wondering what stupid was going to happen next. What absolute ridiculousness was JJ going to pull out of his ass and shock me with stupid. But by this point, it was just wave after wave after wave of stupid that I just stopped. It was meaningless. So I'm only going to kind of cover the big stuff that I actually cared enough to even write down and even mention. For a prime example, Rey's back at the planet where she first met Luke, and she's setting the X-wing on fire. I don't know how. Did she make it into a bonfire? I didn't really understand. I didn't really pay attention at this point, because all I ended up seeing was Luke's Force Ghost catching the lightsaber that Rey threw. And it's like, because it's not like J.J. Abrams actually knows what a Force Ghost is, or how it works, or even cares. It's like, again, he goes, oh, people will see Luke's Force Ghost and go, oh, I know what a Force Ghost is. So he can have the Force Ghost do whatever he wants, and no one's going to actually care, because the majority of fans just don't know how a Force Ghost works anyway. So, anyway. And then Luke goes, a Jedi's weapon deserves more respect. And it was like, screw you! Screw you, movie! You have the balls to say that line? Now, I kind of calmed down after a bit, because I was thinking, is this J.J. Abrams throwing shade again at Rian Johnson? Or is him saying this trying to pander to Star Wars fans, going, oh, I realized how stupid that is, so I'm on your side. I'm pointing out how stupid what Rian Johnson did. And it's like, dude, you already did enough bullshit on your own. You trying to deflect or call out Rian Johnson on his stupid is irrelevant. So I am not excusing that stupid ass line. And then again, I wasn't really paying attention, but Luke also has a wave rider? Again, I don't even know how the movie even explained it, or if they even did, but apparently Luke has a wave rider. Oh, and Luke's Force Ghost can use the Force to lift the Y-Wing out of the water. And it's like, sure, why not? Why not have Luke's Force Ghost just teleport her to the Emperor Palpatine's palace? You're already pulling bullshit abilities of the Force Ghost. Why not just go all the way? You've established that the Force Ghost can do whatever the hell you want it to do. Why didn't you just have Luke's Force Ghost teleport Rey to Emperor Palpatine and have... So then we have, again, going to Palpatine and all the forces. But then... So then I see, again, a big fight scene and a ton of stuff happens. But then we get to the horses riding on the Star Destroyer. Now, as stupid as that is, and as ridiculous that is, but again, you're going, oh, it's a cool shot. All I'm thinking was, why did they know to bring horses? Like, their plan was to just shoot the transmitter. So, why did they bring horses? Like, do you understand? It's bad enough that they're riding horses on the hull of the Star Destroyer, but it's like, how did they know to even bring, like, why would they even have thought to bring the horses in the first place? It just... I know. Shut up, or J.J. Abrams will force choke me and slam me into... Well, I don't know. Well, hold on. Onto the underside of... Just... And then Kylo Ren shows up. And it's like... How? The last we saw you, Kylo Ren, was on the remains of the Star Destroyer, and you don't have a skimmer... You don't have a ship. How the hell did you get off the wreckage? Screw it. Who gives a damn? It's just... Like, J.J. Abrams doesn't even... Like, if J.J. Abrams doesn't even care enough to explain or have any logic on going from scene to scene, this is why I stopped caring. Because J.J. Abrams stopped caring. It's literally just one scene and then the next scene. And there doesn't even have to actually be a logical or any type of connection to get from... What else? Okay, we're at the last page. Oh, and just like a mini Death Star, each of the Star Destroyers has a weak spot. And Emperor Palpatine is suddenly got the lightning powers and is destroying the rebel forces all on his own. What? You know what? I'm done. Because I wasn't even paying attention to the movie. I didn't even care. Like, literally, most of what happened after Luke's Force Ghost grabbed the lightsaber and she laughed. I tuned out. I was just watching it just to see what happened. I didn't even care. Oh wait, there is one more thing that kind of confused me and I didn't really understand. It's at the very end of the movie where there's Rey and BB-8 and Rey's bearing the lightsabers. And I didn't even care that she was on Tatooine and whatever. But it was like, when did BB-8 go from being Poe's droid to being Rey's droid? Like, when did that happen? How did that happen? Because again, I'm not caring anymore. All I'm seeing is Ray and BB-8, and I'm going, that's Poe's droid. Why is... Anyway. Like I said, by this point, I didn't even care. But this movie was just beyond what I could have possibly expected. But I'm sorry, for the most part, I enjoyed laughing at this movie and mocking this movie, because if for some reason you took this movie seriously, you're on the wrong path. Okay, there's no reason. Since the Force Awakens, there was literally no reason to take this Disney based on Star Wars trilogy seriously at all. So I really don't care that this saga is over and done with, because it meant nothing to me. And the whole people, like, how this ruined the Star Wars mythology, for me, all it did was highlight just how good the original trilogy was. That the original trilogy was lightning in the bottle, because even George Lucas couldn't replicate it with the prequels. What hope did Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy and Disney have? So I didn't take this trilogy seriously, and I don't see any reason for anybody else to. But anyway, God knows what I'm gonna like. Just wondering what's gonna happen next in Star Wars, but oh well. Anyway, that was, what was it called? The Fall of Palpatine. Anyway, I'm out of here. See ya.